Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. First up we had Luke McCowan up for interview with the Celtic media today, with the fan media and the normal media, and he was asked about how important it is as Celtic defending champions of the Premier Sports Cup. He says that they want to go in strong, they want to have a strong performance, especially at home. They won't underestimate the opponents of the game. He was asked about the long trip to Kazakhstan, which means that the whole squad will be needed over the next couple of weeks due to the fact that we're playing in so many games. He was asked about midfield competition, and he was asked about rotation. And he says that, look, when I'm called upon, I go all in. He was asked about past success and the motivation. He says it's painful when we have defeats. Talking about the defeat of the cup final last season. But he also went on and said that, look, every training game, every passing, every energy, everything that we do is all gearing up towards this point of the season to make sure that we can compete in all competitions going forward. He says that his aim is to hit as top a form as he can for the Champions League qualifiers, but he also understands that it is a squad game and that he may be used in other games, but he'll still be travelling with the squad. He says you don't know who the manager's going to pick. He says that players are focused, and he said he was asked about players potentially coming in the midfield, since there has been talk of a Scottish midfielder coming to Celtic. And he said, look, from a personal point of view and a pretty honest, selfish point of view, you just concentrate on yourself. You know, everyone that is here at the moment is loving playing for Celtic, are loving training, and they're just getting on with it. He says we know that we all have some work to do, but we just get on with it, and it's as simple as that. And it was a rather nervous one from Brendan Rodgers when he was asked a series of questions. He was asked a big long question about Kieran Tierney, and he decided to tell people why Kieran Tierney is only playing 60-70 minutes. And he did remind people that, look, over the last couple of years, he hasn't been able to play a full season. So the way that Celtic are looking at it, and he mentioned something about collagen and Kieran Tierney, and he says it could be just down to that, the collagen makeup of his body. And what they're planning to do, he said, look, Kieran Tierney is nowhere near his prime yet. He's still to hit his prime as a player, and what they're doing at Celtic is managing his game time, which I said all along was it's a great thing to do, because you want to make sure that you get the best out of the player. Brendan Rodgers says that he gives 110% every time he goes onto the pitch. We all know that. And Brendan Rodgers also said that, look, with Kieran, there's no holding back, but now he's as matured as a player, as he's got that little bit older. He understands that, you know, why we're taking him off. We understand that, you know, he can last the 90 minutes, but you don't want him to get burnt out and maybe get injured later on down the season. So managing his game time, managing his fitness, building his body up is all part of the process of getting the maximum out of Kieran Tierney over the course of the summer. Now, he was then asked about a certain player, and I've got to say, his mood kind of changed a bit. He said he's as confident as he can be in a player being here at the end of the transfer window. That was it. He said he's as confident as he can be at this moment. He said something similar about Kyogo Furuhashi. That's all I'm going to say, and we move on from that. And he was then asked about Tygate. Yes. And he said, do you know, at least today, at least you're admitting that they're dumb questions. Because normally when you ask them and they're dumb questions, you don't mention the fact that they're dumb questions. Yes, he was talking about the fact that many Celtic supporters online were talking about the fact that he didn't wear his tie up in Aberdeen. And he said, look, it was roasting. He said there's two grounds that have been at before. That when the sun is at the right height and, you know, it's that time of day, the sun just beats down on the dugout and you're absolutely roasting. I had my tie on before the game. I went out and I was like, oh, fuck, that's going to be too hot. He said, I either take my jacket off or I take my tie off. I thought, I'm just going to take my tie off. And then went on to tell us about the fact that when he was going to football and going to clubs, when he was a young kid, 13, 14, and he was on trial, his dad would send him with a shirt and tie on. Good old fashioned. and that's what I like about it. It's and he said he always wears a shirt and ties in respect to his father and the way that he was brought up. And for people saying that, you know, he apologised. Brendan Rodgers apologised. He felt sorry for people having to. He felt sorry that people were wasting their time talking about him being, or was he sending out some kind of message? He also spoke about a game last year where he wore a jumper, and he said, "What kind of fucking message am I sending out?" I said, "I'm either hot or I'm cold, and I'm just a normal person. It's as simple as that." Does he get asked dumbass questions in press conferences? Join me at 8 PM Celtic Park tonight, where we could talk about the fact that some of the questions that it does, and what was going on with the audio. Celtic. I mean, as if Celtic TV isn't bad enough. The audio for and this is, I don't know who's doing the editing just now, but the video that went out this morning. Yesterday was it? This morning with Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor just repeated himself for about 30 seconds. And then the audio on this one today was absolutely terrible. You could not hear a word that some of the questions that were getting asked. And but it is what it is. It's Celtic. If you think that we've got all that money, we've got. Oh, another question that Brendan was asked today also was about the travel and whose plane will we get? Whose plane will we get? And Brendan says, look, he says the team that's there that deal with that do a fantastic job, and it's all about the recovery. They'll obviously get an airplane that makes sure that they can have ample rest going to the game, and then it's all about the recovery coming back as well. Make sure they can get their head down and get asleep. Anyway, join us at 8 PM Celtic Park tonight, where we can talk about the big topics of the day.